Welcome to Fresh Oil. We're so excited about this word that God has for us tonight. As you see what is before you, you see all different forms of cosmetic use. And this series is entitled, listen very carefully because we're talking about the spirit man. No makeup, but a makeover. And these are things, items that are used in the physical aspect, but they also are used to cover up some spiritual issues within us as well. So the series is No Makeup But a Makeover. We're going into the book of Ephesians chapter 4. And in this particular writing, Paul has wrote to the church in Ephesus, our modern day Turkey, and he's talking about the new life in Christ. So he's not talking to an unbeliever. He's talking to blood-bought believers. In Ephesians chapter 4, beginning at the 20th verse, and Paul says, "But you have not so learned of Christ, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, that you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness." See, the new life. When Paul tells them, "But you have not so learned Christ." In other words, he's telling them there are no gray areas when you are presented with this. You cannot say that you're ignorant of this, which means ignorant is just simply a lack of knowledge, a lack of information. So when he's talking about Christian teaching. And this Christian teaching, the doctrine instructs not to so live as do unbelievers. When you've been born again, you don't function like you used to. When you've been born again, your conversation changes. Your outlook on things changes. The way that you think, the way that you move, the way that you respond, all that changes. And then he says, "If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him as the truth is in Jesus, that ye," meaning you, "that you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man which is corrupt, according to the deceitful lust." We said that this series is entitled No Makeup But a Makeover. Understand, makeup is a cosmetic that helps the real you to hide out in public. Makeup, a cosmetic, it helps assist you for the real you to hide out in public. Talking about your nature. Can we turn this down a little bit? About your nature. I need you to understand this, even though we're talking about makeup and even though we're using an image-rich presentation, I need you to understand that this is not about a person's physical appearance. Rather, it's about an individual's spirit, thank you, and character. Once again, I need you to get this. This is not about a person's physical appearance. It is about an individual's spirit and character. Understand, makeup is a concealer that you apply onto the imperfections in your character that you want to keep covered up. Jesus told us in Luke chapter 12, verse 2, Jesus says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." Listen, are you ready for this? Makeup is a hypocrite's best friend. makeup is a hypocrite's best friend. Well, what do you mean by that, Pastor? A best friend. It helps to hide you behind a mask, talking about your character. In the Greek, when we talk about this hypocrite, I need you to understand it, what this makeup does. The Greek says that a hypocrite is an actor under an assumed character. In other words, a stage play. They are actor or actress. Another interpretation for the hypocrite is a dissembler. That's one who gives a false or misleading appearance. And then finally, a fraud or a phony. Makeup keeps the real you from standing up, talking about your real character or nature. He says that you put off concerning the former conversation. That you put off the former conversation, the old man which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. You have to intentionally, listen, you have to intentionally remove your makeup. And that makeup is understanding that your old nature, which is sinful. You have to do this intentionally. You have to do this voluntarily. This is something that you acknowledge that there is an issue, and I need to own it, and I need to do what's necessary to bring about a change. And that's why Paul tells us in Romans chapter 8 verse 13, he says, for if you live after the flesh, that means walking. For if you live after the flesh, listen, you shall die. But if you through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, you shall live. Hashtag, stop covering you up. And in this text, it says that you have to mortify. Just as Paul told us in Ephesians, that you have to put off. And now this tells us that you have to mortify. And when we look at the word mortify in the Greek, it means, listen, to subdue, to deprive of power, to destroy the strength of, and to death. This is your responsibility. But makeup tries to cover up all your imperfections. You're going to have to do this on your own. Remove what your nature wants to keep covered in your life. Putting off that former conversation. The old man that has flaws, that got some blemishes, that is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. In other words, you need some makeup remover. Understand this, listen. Foundations cover up pigmentations, which means coloring. A skin pigmentation disorders affects the color of your skin. But once again, we're not talking about a physical presentation of an individual, but we're talking about an individual's nature, talking about their character, talking about someone who has been born again, but still has some old yesterday issues. So it's not about this physical appearance. Even though you see the mirror here, and you see the different brushes here, and you see the lipsticks here, it's still not about this physical appearance. It's about your spirit and character, listen, that's suffering from an internal disorder. If we look at it from the physical perspective, some of the things that comes on an individual's face pimples, acne, or whatever, a lot of those things come. Why? Because there is something internally that is happening internally that is now showing itself externally to let you know that something internally is going on. So what are you saying, Pastor? That you have some internal disorders that are going on inside of you, but they're showing themselves externally outside so the world can see something is going on inside of you internally. And that's why Romans 8:5 says, for they that are after the flesh do mind. That meaning they set their minds on the things of the flesh, but they're not after the spirit, the things of the spirit. When we talk about flesh, flesh in Greek means it's carnal. It's connected to this world, this system. It's talking about human nature with its frailties, physically or morally. Are you ready for this? Makeup on or makeup off, you'll still be you. Makeup on, trying to hide. Makeup off, but the real you, your character, your nature will still be who you are. That you put off. Some transformation has taken place in your life. A conversion has taken place. You've been born from above. This is a spiritual rebirth, a spiritual awakening. And then you're giving instructions, something that you have to do. In other words, when it says that you put off concerning the former things, in other words, it's saying remove the makeup. This has to be done, listen, purposely by choice, not by force. Love has to make you want to remove the makeup. Still dealing with cosmetics. Foundations cover dark circles and uneven skin tones, meaning the imbalance of the spirit and the flesh, talking about your Christian character. There's some imbalance in there. Something's wrong with the spiritual pigmentation. You've got some bags under your spiritual eyes. It's all based about this Christian character. And that's why Paul tells us when he wrote this letter to the Galatian church, chapter 5, verse 16, he says, this I say then, walk in the spirit, which means live, which means you have a choice. Walk in the spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. If you put off the former conversation, the old man with its which is corrupt, you'll find yourself, listen, distancing yourself from who you used to be. This I say then, walk. You have to want to do this. If you're going to walk, then that means you got to remove the makeup. If you're going to walk, listen, that means that you're willing to look at the different issues in your life that needs to be addressed. And this also means not only are you looking at them, you're willing to do something about them. Walk in Greek. It means to live. In other words, you can't talk about it, you got to be about it. Live means, listen, it's an action that is visible that others can see. Also, I love this, listen, I conduct my life. In other words, you're taking charge of your life. to order one's behavior. In other words, your emotions don't rule you. You rule your emotions. To regulate one's life. And then finally, to behave. You have to understand, it's talking about Christian life. It's talking about you being different. It's talking about you not trying to cover up the different issues that you're dealing with. What it's saying right now is look in the mirror and take the makeup off and then deal with the real you. Because you need to be able to understand you can have all the makeup on by a makeup artist. But when you look in the mirror, your reflection might show you a makeup, but you still know who you really are behind the makeup. So what it's telling you that you have to put this thing off, that this has to be something that you have to deal with. It is talking about your character. It is talking about your nature. It's talking about the old you. It's talking about the sinful you. It's talking about the selfish you. Look in the mirror. Be true to yourself. Remove all the mascara. Wipe away the blush. Take off the lipstick. Take off the eyelashes. Take out the contacts. And then deal with the real you. Pause. Sometimes the makeup is worn because you know how ugly you are. And you don't want to deal with the ugliness. So you take the makeup to cover it over. Now realizing all it is just makeup over ugly. And we're not talking about a physical presentation, but we're talking about the spiritual makeup, the character of an individual, of a man or woman that is supposed to be, listen, born again. We say foundation. Foundations. Talk about they cover up dark circles that may appear, listen to this, that may appear because of aging, fatigue, but also genetics. It's in your DNA. We're talking about the cover-up of spiritual things. It's in your DNA. That's why you try to keep the eyeshadow on. It's in your DNA. Whether you know it or not, that there are certain forms of lipstick that you can use for makeup to cover up the circles. But it's in your genetics, it's in your DNA. And that's why Psalms 58:3 tells us, it says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray, listen, as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Those black circles are in your spiritual DNA. And we're talking about this word estranged from the Hebrew. It means, listen, to be alienated, severed, to withdraw, to keep at a distance, to cease to frequent and be familiar with. I love this already. Makeup keeps the real you covered at a distance. Hashtag, leave home without your makeup on. You have a new lifestyle now. You have a new vision. You have a new purpose. You have a new agenda. But there's some things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to take off that form of conversation, that form of conduct, that form of behavior, that form of way of thinking. You can't think like the old you. Because if you think like the old you, you respond like the old you. If you think like the old you, you're going to talk like the old you. If you think like the old you, you're going to frequent those places that you were delivered from. If you think like that, you're going to find yourself once again surrounding yourself, listen, with people that have different names and different faces, but they still have the same connection that you had with the old you. So take these things off. Ready? Do you know that lipstick is another form of makeup that covers up blemishes, cold sores, and dry lips, which have become callous? And when we're talking about makeup, we need you to understand that once again, we're talking about it from a spiritual perspective. But if we want to look at it from a physical perspective, I need you to understand this is not just basically about women. I need you to understand that men wear different forms of foundation. That men also wear different forms of eyeliner. That men do also wear different forms of lipstick. So it is not about a physical presentation, but the cosmetics is put there to give you an image-rich understanding of what makeup does for an individual. Lipstick, are you ready for this? Since lipstick is another form of makeup and another cosmetic, lipstick covered your lips, but it could not cover the lips that's on your heart. Are you ready for this? The same lips that pucker up are the same lips that will blow you the kiss of death. That's why James said in chapter 3, verse 9, virtual church, and therewith bless we go, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Makeup can be dangerous. Similitude in the Greek, it means a simulation. It means a resemblance after the likeness of God. It refers primarily to man's spiritual resemblance, rationally and morally, to his maker, to our God. Lipstick. Out of the same mouth proceeds blessings and curses. Out of the same mouth, you can build somebody up. And the same mouth, you can tear them down. The same mouth that you speak and share with them in the conversation is the same mouth that you will take what you heard and go gossip all over town. Out of the same mouth receives these blessings and curses. Listen, my brothers, these things ought not so to be. Still dealing with cosmetics. Just like eyeliner defines your eyes and draws attention to them, actors / hypocrites wear eyeliner also. That defines their heart and draws attention to it. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 12 and 34, Jesus said, "O generation of vipers, O generation of snakes, poisonous snakes, how can you be evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of a heart, the mouth speaks." You can put makeup on. You can beautify yourself. But your heart is still going to speak. And your heart is still going to show that you got some blotches there. You got some imperfections there. Hashtag, makeup won't keep you from talking. Makeup won't keep you from talking because the real you won't be silent. See, a hypocrite is the individual. We go back into acting. That is the individual that has a mask over their face. That is the makeup. And then the actor who is not actually the individual. They're only portraying a particular character. The real them stand behind the mask and then perpetrate to the audience an individual that is not known but that wants the audience to believe. You're going to have to do this on your own. Christian behavior. People are watching you. You're not who you used to be. You're different. You have a different lifestyle. Your lifestyle is holy. Your lifestyle is righteous. Put off concerning the former conversation. Your former behavior. It was foul. It was wicked. It was disgusting. It was unholy. It was unrighteous. You saved now. Should be a difference. A tree is known by its fruit. So put off this conversation. The old man, the unsaved you behavior, which is corrupt, according to the deceitful lust, according to a nature, a sinful nature behavior. Makeup keeps you from seeing and dealing with the real nature of who you are. Because, are you ready? Because makeup will cause you to believe what you see in the mirror is real when you know you fake.
That's true.
There are you listening to this? Are you ready? There are some individuals that will tell you, are you ready? You have to wait. I'm not ready yet. I have to put my face on. What is it? I have to put my makeup on. I have to put my covering on. I have to be different when I get on the outside. That is what a flawed character or nature does. It says, I need to make sure that I put my face on before I go out in public because I don't want the public to see who I really am. Makeup gives the delusion that the imperfections in your character don't exist. What do you mean? I'm taking this from the physical perspective now and then bringing it into the spiritual. You talk about it don't exist, but when the makeup is removed, if you do suffer with bags under the eyes, whether it's age, fatigue, whether it's genetics, but guess what? When you put the makeup on, you don't see it, but yet in your mind you want to act like it don't exist, but it does. You have different spots in your face, but you put the makeup on. And you don't want to acknowledge that you do have some different skin imperfections, so you cover them up and don't want to acknowledge that they really exist. Just the same way in the spirit realm that you and I have some different sinful issues in our behavior, in our conduct, in our interacting with one another. But we want to put makeup on to cover it up like it's not there, but it's still there and it's spreading. And listen, everyone, listen, when you get around the right spiritual discernment, people can tell when you're wearing makeup. Take it off. Deal with the real you. Are you ready for this? Makeup allows you to change your appearance on a daily basis.
What do you mean on a daily basis? Do you know that you have the ability to get up in the morning and put on the particular face that you want to present to the world? And if you get tired of that look, by noontime, you can retreat and go into another area, remove that particular makeup, and then put on a new face. And then by the time you get home, you can wash that off and then put on another new face. And then, are you ready for this? Since you don't want to deal with your issues, I need you to understand this, that sometimes people have some issues that they don't even want to deal with. Are you ready? They'll put makeup on to go to bed in. So that when they wake up in the morning, are you ready? When they wake up in the morning, whoever's looking at them still can't see their issues. They only see what's covering them up. Good God Almighty. The makeup allows you to change your appearance on a daily basis, but it can't change your character nor your nature. Like a leopard cannot change its spots. Jeremiah told us this. The prophet Jeremiah, chapter 13, verse 23. Listen, this is what he says. You've got some issues now. You have some blotches. You have some imperfections. You have some internal things that are going on in your spirit and in your nature and in your character. And this is what Jeremiah said. Can the Ethiopian, that is an individual of color, can the Ethiopian change his skin? If you're black or brown, can you change your skin? You can bleach it, but you're still going to be black or brown. And then he comes out and he says, or the leopard, his spots. Then he says, then may you also do good that are accustomed to evil. He said, the evilness in your spirit, the flaws within you, they are unholy and they are unrighteous. So how can you do good with them? All you can do is try to cover it up in your makeup. There's no makeup, but a makeover. And the makeover begins when you're willing to put off the makeup, the old you, the old behavior, your old way of thinking, your old views. Listen. There's no makeup for nature or character suffering from acne. There's no makeup for nature or character that's suffering from acne. Individual that has acne, oily skin, different things that affect the pores, causes blemishes and pimples that pop up all over the place. So guess what? That sometimes in your spirit, when your spirit is not right and your nature is not right, you'll find acne popping up all over the place, and no matter what you try to use. Listen, just because you put some makeup on and cover it, I need you to understand the makeup is over there, but sometimes you still can see the pimple popping through the makeup. That's the real you. Let's get into this thing now. Foundations and concealers worsen acne or cause new breakouts. You're suffering physically. You're suffering from some imperfections that's internal, that is affecting your skin externally. But sometimes the foundations of the cosmetics that you are trying to put on to try to hide or conceal what is actually going on in your face, sometimes you need to understand that they either worsen the acne or they cause new breakouts. In other words, you're trying to cover up some things in you, and all you're doing is worsening the things that's taking place in your life. And then listen, that sometimes you can mess around and cause new breakout things to begin to break out in different areas of your life. Hashtag no more makeup. This one is free right here. That sometimes makeup is like money. What do you mean? I'm glad you asked, Virtue Church. You ready for this? All money ain't good money. And just like all makeup ain't good makeup. Putting makeup on a character with blemishes and blotches underneath is like having it's called anosognosia, which means a condition where you can't recognize other health conditions or problems that you have. So you always cover it up yourself. And you can't even tell that you're spiritually sick. You can't even tell that you need some medications that they give you are external. But sometimes when you have different things that are breaking out in your skin, sometimes you need some internal medication. So sometimes you need some internal word to help the outbreak that's going on in your life. 1 Corinthians 2:14, this is when Paul was writing to the church in Corinthians, which is what we call modern day Greece. Listen to this, it says, but the natural man with issues, but the natural man, the man with issues who don't want to acknowledge them, the natural man, the one who acts like his issues don't exist. Listen, are you ready? The natural man, the man that has been delivered, but he's acting like the old man. But the natural man receives not the things of the Spirit. We're talking about the Holy Ghost and how the Holy Ghost gives us revelation, discernment, and understanding. But the natural man receives not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Are you ready for this? Hashtag, water washes away makeup. Very simple, very basic. Water washes makeup off. What do you mean by that, Pastor? Let's look in this text now. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 26 says, that he might sanctify. That means set apart. That he may sanctify. That's Jesus talking about his church. That's Jesus talking about his bride. That he may sanctify and cleanse it, listen, with the washing of water by the word. The word of God will wash away your makeup. The word of God will cause you, listen, to not only just address the different blemishes and imperfections and blotches and other things that are occurring in your life. Not only will it help you address it, but it will help you rectify it. What do you mean? When was the church cleansed? Question. Well, because you had a whole lot of makeup trying to cover up who you were. Trying to cover up your sinful and your unrighteous behavior, your depravity. When was the church cleansed? Are you ready? That was at your conversion. That's when you got cleansed. It wasn't water, it was the blood of Christ that washed away the makeup. It was the blood that washed away what sin was causing in your life. And the washing of water, that's simply water baptism, which is an outward symbol of an inward change. It was the blood that was the internal medicine that caused those different areas in your life to be addressed. That's why he's saying, take off the old man. You've been cleansed. Take off the old man. You've been born from above. Take off the old man. You are now in covenant with Jesus Christ. I love this. Hashtag this. I think this is it. He said, stop going into your makeup case. Leave it exactly where it is. You can never cover up with what you won't use. Hashtag stop going in your makeup kit. That's it right there. We need to look at this thing now when we talk put off concerning your former conversation. That's you taking off that makeup. That's you, listen, that's you refusing to cover up. Put off in Greek means, listen, to lay aside. Lay aside what? Talk about your former behavior. Lay aside your former nature. Lay aside the way that you used to act. Lay aside that lying tongue. Lay aside that wandering eye. Lay aside that self-centeredness. Lay aside that self-righteousness. Also, now it says renounce. That means you're disowning it. Denoting separation from what is put off. What you've taken off, you put some distance to it. When it says put off the former conversation, which deals with your behavior, when you put that off, that means you need to put off some relationships too. There's some people you can't talk to no more. There's some people that if you talk to them out of a distance. You got to put them off. Why? Because they'll stir up that old nature. You know how you were having a good day until somebody from yesterday spoke into you today? So, renouncing. Separation from what is put off. I love this, listen. Wholly to strip off for oneself, for one's own advantage. Wholly, that means completely. That means leaving nothing. To strip off. When you strip off, you ain't trying to be nice taking it off. You're stripping that thing off by force. Listen, for one's self, for one's own advantage. You're stripping this off. Why? Because it's going to make you better. You're stripping this off because, listen, you have a legal right to be selfish when you want to walk right with Christ. Talking about conversation. Said that was in the Greek. This is what it means, the conversation thing. We talk about behavior piece. Are you ready? It's the manner of life. It's the manner of life. It's the way you carry yourself. Listen, not in public. Are you ready? How you carry yourself in private. How you carry yourself when you're out the public eye. How you carry yourself when you're behind the door and the door is locked. Why is that so important? I need you to understand that if you take everything off and you get your private life together, you don't have to you don't have to try to put any makeup on. Because your private life will become your public life. When you work on your private life, are you ready? You don't have to remember the lie you told the public. It means conduct. Conduct. And this is the key part that you need to understand about conduct. Conduct is not based on another individual. Conduct is based on you. Conduct is not based on what someone else has done. It's based on how you respond to what was done. Conduct. You're not who you used to be, which means they cussed you, but you can bless them. Which means they did you wrong, but you can pray for them and mean it. They wouldn't give you a helping hand, but God bless you that you can help them, and then you extend that hand. Conduct. Then it's behavior. A true behavior, not a hypocrite's behavior. A behavior, you don't have to say you're a Christian. Your behavior lets everybody know you're a Christian. Okay. One's deportment or course of life. You've changed your path. Instead of traveling or treading on an unrighteous path, now you walk on a righteous path. Instead of you being in an unholy atmosphere surrounded by unholy people, you now place yourself, listen, in a holy path, and it does not matter who is around you, you're going to be holy anyway. Why? Because that's just your nature. Oh, I love this. Hashtag, dead men don't wear makeup. Dead men don't wear makeup. Throw away the old man. Talking about do a benediction. Throw away the old man. You're not going to visit again. Make sure you're planning. Make sure you're planning him in the cemetery, because you ain't coming back to visit. Romans 6:6. Paul was writing to the Romans while he was incarcerated, or while he was in Rome. He says, knowing this, that our old man, that's the one that you keep trying to cover up. The old man with his sinful nature. The old man that's connected to this world, connected to this system, is crucified with him. That means put to death with Jesus Christ. That the body of sin might be destroyed. That henceforth we should not serve sin. The old man don't need any makeup. Destroyed in the Greek. Let's look at the totality of what it said when it said, take this makeup off. The makeup was good for a season. But now it's a new you. You have a new way of living. Destroyed in Greek means, listen to this, violently, completely perish. Violently, completely perish. There is no signs of life in it. To cancel out. It means to die. Anything dead doesn't have a pulse. Anything dead doesn't have any influence. Anything dead doesn't have any power. Anything dead doesn't have a voice. Anything dead doesn't have an opinion. Destroy the old nature. And then the final Greek word from it, permanent, listen, permanent, absolute destruction. It's unrepairable. It's permanent. It can't be put back together again. Talking about the old you. I love this right here. This is why it's important when it says to destroy. Are you ready for this? Anything half dead is half alive. Anything half dead, that's your sin nature. It's still half alive. The old man has a stench. meaning the character with bacteria on it that causes an odor that smells like the old you. Oh man, that's why it says, throw him away. Distance yourself from that old nature. It has a stench attached to your character with bacteria. Bacteria grows things, and then it causes the odor to smell like the old man. In other words, when there's different sicknesses, when an individual may be carrying different sicknesses, if they come into a room, even though they left the room, another individual can come in and smell the sickness. Dealing with this makeup. That's why it's very, very important about this makeup. Don't fall in love with this makeup. This makeup tells you lies. It tells you that it's beautifying, and at the same time that it's beautifying, it also has the ability to kill you softly. Over time, bacteria and mold often contaminate makeup. What you've been putting on your face, trying to cover up your heart, trying to cover up your mind, trying to cover up your mouth, it can mess around and become contaminated. Talking about your character, a two-headed coin. One who talks out of both sides of their mouth. That's why James tells us in chapter 3, verse 11, does a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? The old man's germs can cause character infections. Hashtag throw away your makeup. David told us in Psalms 51 and 10. He's talking to God. Listen, he understands that he has some flaws. Understands that he has some unaddressed sin in his life, but now he's removing the makeup. I need to tell you, as we go into this text right here, Psalm 51, I need you to understand that David was wearing makeup. He tried to put makeup over his adulterous affair with Bathsheba. Yeah. Tried to put some foundation over the conspiracy that led to murder. But then he realized that the makeup was contaminating and causing him to become internally sick. So David says, create in me a clean heart. God, get my mind right. Oh God, and renew a right spirit within me. Distance me from the old me that you put off concerning the former conversation of the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. When he tells you to put this thing away, are you ready? You live in the same house, but you're new resident. You're attending the same school, but you're a new student. You're working at the same place, but you're a new employee. Why? Because you've been born again. You're going to the same church, but now you're a new partner in the ministry. A few days of no makeup allows your character the chance to breathe without the weight of a heavy coverage trying to cover you up. Isaiah told us in chapter 45, verse 8, he says, remember you not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Listen, you can't remember what you don't remember anymore. Distance yourself. I'm not talking about the physical part, it's talking about the spiritual you. If the spiritual you distances himself, the physical you has no choice but to go along for the ride. Hashtag, give your makeup kid a break. And still stating in Isaiah 43 and verse 19, behold, this is what God says, behold, when you throw that stuff away, Behold, when you own who you are, behold, I'll do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Let your life look in the mirror without makeup on it. Look in the mirror and see yourself. See the issues that you have. Acknowledge that they're there. Acknowledge that you will no longer try to cover them up. Acknowledge that you need assistance to keep you from trying to cover them up in the future. I love this one. Listen. Go ahead and retire from the theater. Meaning you stop acting or performing on the stages of life. I love this. We're going to close on these two. You don't need makeup to cover up your bruises. You don't need makeup to cover up your bruises. Because sin causes some bruises. And sometimes when your heart is bruised, sometimes when your mind is bruised, you want to use some makeup to cover it up. But Pastor, you're telling me don't use makeup to cover up the bruises. Why is that so important? The bruises confirm that you were in a fight, but you made it out. No makeup, but a makeover. Here it is. The separation. Because we all have some things in our lives that we keep trying to be covered up. Because Paul is talking to the church. He's talking to believers. And you and I as believers, we're saved, blood bought, on our way, going to glory, but we still got some issues that we keep trying to cover up. And sometimes we keep trying to find, listen, the best makeup. Listen, are you ready? To wear the best makeup that don't look like makeup. It looks like the real skin, but it's still makeup. So we're still trying to cover up in secret. No makeup, but a makeover. Virtual Church, I'm so glad that you guys tuned in to be with us tonight. And before we close out, listen, I want you to know that if you have not accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, are you ready for this? You're wearing makeup. You're trying to wear this makeup and cover up like everything is all right. That I got joy and I got peace, when you know internally your whole world is crumbling right in front of you. I want to extend this invitation to you right now. It's time for you to take off the makeup. It's time for you to address the different issues in your life. And it's time for you to realize what you're going through. You can't get any external help, but you can get some internal and eternal help by surrendering your life to Jesus Christ. It's time to take off your makeup now. Time to be honest. Extend this invitation to you. Simply, Jesus, come into my life. I'm tired of faking it. Jesus, I have some issues. I have no answers. I'm tired of trying to do life on my own. Come into my life. Save me. Let me see me as you see me. I surrender all. My brother, my sister, if you made this confession and you believe in your heart that Jesus died for you, that God raised him from the dead, my brothers, my sisters, the makeup has come off. You have been saved and you have been delivered today to be the real you. So glad you guys tuned in to be with us. We're so excited. Can't wait to come back and be with you Sunday morning as we continue in this new series. Listen, the signs and the times. God bless you now.